I thought I'd do a day in the life of a writer or an author, the very unromantic version. Now, I think that as creatives, we tend to see authors as these romantic, tortured beings, but that's very far from the truth. Sometimes our lives can be very mundane and just as boring, and we don't always see fantasies and dragons and magic wherever we go. Particularly if we write fantasy, it's still the very same existence. So we always have to put ourselves in a position where we seek the inspiration, and we always have to be in a situation where we're inspired constantly by our environment. And if we're not inspired by our environment, then we have to go out into the world and seek the inspiration for ourselves. And this is what I tell people when I say you have to find the inspiration, where you have to put yourself in the frame of mind where you are so relaxed, you are so comfortable with yourself and your surroundings and your environment, that your environment seeks to act as inspiration for you. Now, I always surround myself with things that I love. I'm in a very, very small flat here in Budapest, but I like the decor. It's all very simple. And, I've got plants, I've got books, I've got book paraphernalia, I've got my pens. And I've got all these things that, whilst might seem a bit silly to some people, give me inspiration or give me ideas or just make me feel relaxed. And I think one way you need to be able to get ideas is to feel relaxed. You have to be comfortable with yourself. I introduced a character to my Heathens series a few months ago. I thought he was going to be very pivotal to book. I thought he was going to be very pivotal from book 1 onwards, but instead I thought, hey, let me bring him into book 3. So book 3 ends in a certain way, and the Heathens, those the witches, warlocks, the magical creatures, they realise they need someone, and they call out for him. I'm trying to write the character, and when I first started writing this character, I was in London for the weekend, and it came to me. I was sitting at a cafe, I was waiting for my aunt and my cousin, and I was trying to figure out who this character was, and I was sitting in a cafe just off St. John's Wood. I don't know if you know London at all. St. John's Wood is a high street. And I just got him like that. Boom, he just came to me. Very eccentric, tall warlock. Very eccentrically dressed, very quirky. And I thought, brilliant, this is it. But I've swapped cities since, so I've gone back and forth between London and Budapest. I'm back in Budapest now. I'm living here for about the next year. Why did I come here? It was just a change from something. I'm currently on a little travel at the moment. I used to travel quite a lot previously, but since I got my dogs, I'm not comfortable with my dogs being in the cargo, on the cargo hold. So when I travel, I tend to just go somewhere and stay there for a few years and then go on to the next place. Okay, so since I've come back here, I've struggled to write him. And there was something about writing him in London, particularly St. John's Wood, because these are very old parts of London, and I think I've fashioned him that way. So this character is supposed to be someone from the Caribbean, but his history is unknown because he was found as an orphan. And if you look at the Heathen series, so many of the characters have been found as orphans, and they go to the sanctuary where they are supposed to be protected, okay? And obviously the sanctuary is based in London, but these are witches and warlocks who are hiding in plain sight. So they're there, but you don't know they're there. They walk amongst us, but we don't know they're witches or warlocks. And there are other magical creatures in this world. So I'm just trying to write some more about this character today. And I'm hoping that I can really lock into him. I'm hoping that I can sit down, listen to some music, just get really immersive, and boom, I'll figure it out. I hope I can do that, but I can't be too sure. The library was rather quiet for that time of the afternoon, which suited him well. In his hands was a large stack of books that he'd sourced from the different reading areas. Finding a suitable table with good light, he opened one of the volumes, his eyes scanning the pages as he looked and searched. Because heathen history was so rich and diverse, different clans had dealt with their problems in different ways. The Sabbers who encroached on their lifestyles and ways of living had been dealt with using unique methods, some appropriate and some not. And now there was much to read up on. Barabbas's aim after the slaughter of his family had been uniting the heathen clans and greater heathen population across the 8 seas. They were all witches, warlocks, and magical folk, and one aspect united them all: magic. Certain heathens could control the elements: fire, earth, wind, and water. In Barabbas's mind, united, they were stronger against the Deacon Toran, the church, and everything that symbolized their oppression. Lucas snapped the book shut and went on to the next. There was a little kerfuffle of excitement in the usually quiet library, but he ignored it. Mrs. Birdwise would take care of any transgressors. Then he felt a tap on his shoulder. It was Oki. It might not have to do with helping. You look at the young girl and her history. The fact that Marlon Brahim took so much interest in her as a young witch and was vested in helping her. Perhaps Nora was just a lovely young girl, and she genuinely does care about those who have tried to help her. But unless Pia can genuinely be at peace with her death, Nora will keep coming back to comfort Pia, not realizing she hasn't moved on. She will be very sad though. House of Amori is no place for a dead witch's ghost. It rankles slightly. The girl needs to move on and do great things elsewhere. I haven't been able to finish what I was writing earlier on. I'm going to take a break though, because I think the more I sit at my desk and hope that it will come to me, the worse it gets. So I'm going to take a break. It's my colleague's birthday. take some brownies in, normal brownies, have a little celebration, and then come back, and hopefully that will shake things off a bit. Honestly, I would say the key is not to spend all day sitting at a desk hoping that it comes to you. And I think when you're sitting at a desk for a long time, you do need to sort of get up and do other stuff, like have breaks. If you're in an office environment for like 8 hours a day, you don't sit there for 8 hours a day. You get up, you have breaks, you have intermissions, you have things that just get you out of that space. So I'm going to go on a little dog walk now with my neighbour. I have a neighbour who lives in the building, also has dogs, so I'm going to go on a walk, and I always find that very relaxing as well as refreshing. And if anything's going to clear my mind up, it's going to be a dog walk, definitely. The walk definitely helped. The sun was out, the trails were lovely, it was quiet, it was peaceful, bird song, the dogs, the company of my friend as well. And I think that's why I always say, when you get stuck, always remember to take breaks. Always just step outside, go for a walk, even if it's a short walk. I think sometimes longer walks do benefit us better because it completely takes us away from our project, and we're in a completely different environment. So it's like sort of shaking us, and it shakes us awake, and we become more awake, we feel more vibrant, and in a way that creates space for more ideas to come into our heads and into our minds. And without sounding like too much of a hippie, there's just something about being in nature that I think is very good for us writers. Unfortunately, writers have the tendency to sort of stay indoors and isolate themselves and just stay away from any sunlight or fresh air, leaves, flowers, which I think doesn't help us any bit. So basically, with all that, I went back home. We went for about a 45-minute walk. It wasn't a long one by any means because my friend works from home and was taking time out of his day to have a break as well, because he was getting sort of bogged down with work and started to feel, I guess, a bit depressed. So we went for the walk, and then I got back to my desk and I started writing again. Now, I haven't quite finished, but at least I managed to get quite a lot of work done. And this is why I like to remind people as well, and aspiring writers, that writing isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, you know. You don't get something done one day, you have the next day to finish it. Alright, love you, bye.